obviously that's a legend, and I have a photograph talking to him. Makes it look like we're buddies, which is cool. But there was a couple relationships from that film. Michael Clear was a producer on that film. He's a producer in Hollywood that works with James Wan now, who I did a film *Malignant* with. It's all interconnected. You do it long enough. But yeah, I'm glad you like those movies, man. That movie, because I thought it was fun too.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
DILFs as a demographic. How about that?
Hiya. Hi, I'm Anna-Maja. I'm from Finland. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
I had a question earlier that ended up being something completely different because of, I guess, language differences. But so I won't even bother. I'll just ask directly, what's your favorite toilet?
Thank God. Norton, this lovely woman from Finland wanted to know what your favorite toilet was. Toto? Toto. He likes Toto. He went with the brand. Anyone else have
The one that squirts your butt.
the one that squirts your butt? A bidet, I believe. Billy loves his butt squirt on the toilet, so there's that. Yeah, a Toto? A Toto will squirt your butt too?
Japanese blow toilet. Air on your buttocks.
Toto is the Japanese toilet. It does everything. It opens up when you walk in the room.
It opens you up? What?
Yes. Yeah, it does that too. Yeah, it really does.
Not that one.
No,
Not that toilet.
you walk into the bathroom and the seat goes.
I kind of took it as like my home toilet, like home turf, but
That would be the logical.
yeah,
response,
but
right?
they're talking about toilets that
Well,
have
let's just
intercourse
be
with
honest.
you. So
It's just a great question that's relevant to the show and to the day. It just makes sense.
Hey,
have you been to one of my panels, man? They're off the rails.
I can tell by your sweater.
Rich, everybody poops. It's relevant.
You what?
Everybody poops. It's relevant.
It's true. I'm going right now.
This is why we usually don't give Steven a microphone.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, that man right there.
Okay.
That's Jake
Bye,
Gable.
guys. Thank you. This is fun. Thank you.
There he goes. We're putting a lot of chairs out right now. You know why? We got a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just a lot of people coming up here.
On stage.
It's gonna be awesome. Let's see, let's slide this over. It's all about presentation, Rob. Do this, do this, and one more of those. Okay, this is great. I like
So
going
you
here.
want them a little further stage left?
Let's
Is
see.
that your idea?
Let's see, Rob. What do you think? I mean, like.
It feels very heavy on this side.
Okay, like
Yeah.
you want heavy people on this side? You said.
No, I
Okay.
said it feels, the chairs are...
Okay, you're good at like balance.
Wow, this is going to go well,
Crap
moderating with
and-
you.
The good news is whatever.
This is exciting, everybody, because finally we have a Supernatural crew panel. We are so fired up. This was one of those things we wanted to pull off years ago, back in the day. But it was hard to do. These guys were making shows, making this show. But finally, we got some of them to come here and share their expertise with you. I'm excited to have them. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Brad, Robin, Kevin, Rob, and Gabe. Get out here. Hey! Yeah, they are. Grab a seat, y'all. I think we have two. I think we got seats. I love that intro. Nice work, band. So just right out of the gate, because I know many of you know who everybody is, but a lot of you may not. So we're going to just go down the row. I want you to introduce yourself and what you did on the show, starting with this handsome son of a gun.
Hi, I'm Kevin. I was first AD for all 15 seasons. I directed 2 episodes and ended up being a co-producer in the last season.
Hi, I'm Brad Creaser. I was the A-camera operator from episode 14 onward. Also, second year DP. Did about 10 episodes as a DP, and it was a great experience.
Hi, everyone. I'm Robin, on-set props for pretty much all of it.
I'm Gabe. I was the trainee assistant director in season 2 when I started. And I was the first AD on season 12 by the time I left. So I did all the assistant director roles through 11 seasons.
I'm Rob Hayter. I was the stunt coordinator starting season 13, replacing the mighty Lou Bolo, who is our stunt coordinator for the first 12 years.
Well, obviously, Rob and I know and love each and every one of these people on the stage, and could sit and chat with them forever. But this is your moment, so let's start with you all and get some questions going for these fine people. You right there.
Hello. Thank you for being here. We've waited many, many years for this. I wanted to ask, what was the most technically challenging thing you remember in your specific roles over the course of the show?
Good question. Good one.
Most technically difficult. Through 326 episodes, that's all the ones done in Vancouver. There's many of them. I mean, the car crash in end of season 1. That took like 3 days for specs to rig and then make sure the car, and then the car didn't go where it was supposed to go. You can ask my wife. She was one of the operators as the car was careening toward her with the semi-trailer attached to it, with a grip ready to yank her out in case the truck got too close. There was redoing the cemetery for All Hell Breaks Loose because they wanted to do it outside. Then there was too much rain, and we had to rebuild that in the stage.
Rain in Vancouver?
Never happened.
That's insane.
That's the first 2 seasons. I'll look at Brad now.
I think for me, the most technically challenging episode was Baby. One of my favorites. Amazing. Tom Wright directed. He had a plan. Everything shot from the perspective of the car. We had camera mounts. We did some crazy stuff. As you saw the scene when Jensen throws it in reverse, skids around as a 180 and keeps bolting. Learned it at lunch that day and then did it in one take. And it was amazing. But that was a great, great time figuring out little cameras, how to get the shots, how to be with the actors, and everything from the car.
How many versions of Baby were used in that episode? Do you know? Gabe, you might know the answer to that.
How many?
Yeah.
I would say probably at least 4. Yeah.
Because they had, and let's go through what that would have been, because you obviously have the driving car, but then you have the one with the windows. Is that a different one than the blown out window version? Or?
There was, I was sorry to skip briefly over Robin. I'll say back to you because I was going to say that Baby was also the most challenging thing for me because it was the very first episode that I was the first assistant director for the entirety of the episode.
And also, Baby would stay in Baby's trailer and not come out. And that.
Maybe second to having to wake up Jared for a night shoot. That was the hardest thing ever done in the show. But, Johnny Mac was the first at the time. He said, I'm going to take an episode off, and it's going to be a bottle episode. It's a great one. I hear it's very contained. It's a great one for you to learn. I'm like, okay. And then it was Baby, and it was so hard. But anyway, we had, I think, 4 cars, and they had to be divided in different stages. So we had the blown-up car, and one that was just rigged with cameras, and one to do free driving with cameras in the back seat, and so on. So the planning was unbelievable. But I knew it then, though, as we're shooting, as hard as it was, that I'm like, I'm just being part of something that's going to be historic and iconic. You knew it then, and I'm very proud of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Robin?
Technically difficult?
Yes.
Dealing with everybody.
Yes.
I guess really, some of the props I really didn't like. The angel blades. They were awful to deal with.
Why were they awful?
Well, because we had the real ones, which were fine, beautiful, shiny, lovely. And then the rubber ones, it was a really difficult prop to build to make it look like the real one. And then because it's cold and rainy in Vancouver, when they would drop on the ground, they would shatter. So they would just break constantly. So it was just a really difficult thing to kind of keep. And we used so many of them. So many of them. So yeah, that was hard.
What are they made out of, really?
They're metal.
They're metal.
The real ones are metal and they're beautiful.
Wow.
But then the rubber ones, which were plastic, they would, as soon as they would land on the ground because it was cold, cement or whatever, the tips would break, and then you'd have to make more. But then the person that chromed them wasn't chroming things anymore, and then you had to try and paint them. And anyways, yeah.
I love that. So many fans make angel blades, and now you realize
Exactly.
such a nightmare.
I know.
All right, Rob Hader.
I'd say, I mean, for our department, the fights and the action are kind of the priority, but one of the most technical fights we did, of course, was the one where, in Jensen's episode that he directed, where he was also starring in the hallway fight, which was it was quite an adventure. And so we got limited practice time with Jensen. It's really good. He's super competent because that's helpful. But all of those specific beats, we were endeavoring to make that shot all into a one-er sequence. So all of our guys came in and we prepped it and we pre-vised it and we did some instructional with Jensen, and we weren't sure if we were going to be able to actually get through it on the day. And then we walked in there and it just all came together, and on all the little technical components. And of course we had Brad on a camera, and he found all those great moments inside of the fight, and it just turned into a little bit of poetry. So that was kind of one of my favorite technical.
I want to give Rob some credit too, because on a show like Supernatural, you don't have a lot of time. Like, I did The Boys, and we did like 2-week stunt rehearsal. Like, we don't have like.
That's hilarious.
Right? I know, exactly. So I remember I just posted this video on my Instagram that you choreographed the final fight between me and the boys, and it looks really good. And you taught me that in like 20 minutes, you know what I mean? Like, and it's a skill as the stunt coordinator to do that and to make someone like me look like I can hit people who look like that. So in a short amount of time, it's very impressive what you had to do.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, in these episodes, we're doing one episode at a time. So we take 8 days and plan it, and then in that 8 days, that stunt could fall anywhere in that time frame, so it gives them very little time to rehearse it. Right. So we 8 days to shoot. And in that time frame, if we're building a set, it gives him time to do it. But he can't rehearse in that set until it's built, which is probably a day before we get into it.
Sometimes less than a day.
Okay, over here.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Anna-Maja. Nice to meet you. So nice for you to come and talk to us. My question is specifically for Robin. I'm interested to know what your job entailed at Supernatural. Were you on set? Were you also making props, or were you just handing them out to the boys to break, or?
Tying them to chairs a lot.
I specifically was on set, so I was the one my job was to hand out the props, get them back, fix them, but the continuity too of like each episode, which then became kind of the continuity of the lore of the whole show, because there's so much. And I'm really thankful for SuperWiki, because I couldn't remember everything, so I used that webpage a lot in last seasons.
Well, there's one part of your job you left out. That's not like a part of your job, but it became your job. You were the off-camera reader for everything. So Robin had the script in her hand, and any character that wasn't present in the sequence, phone call voice or somebody calling from another room, Robin was everybody else in the script.
Yes, but that wasn't my job.
No, but it became your job. It was just an unspoken rule. Okay, over here.
Hello, I'm Heather. I'm from Edmonton. And my question is, I'm wondering what some of the more disgusting special effects were made of, such as the skin that the shapeshifters shed or the hearts that the werewolves eat, things like that.
Okay, anybody have that intel? What would it be? Kevin? Gabe, maybe you guys know what the content was when it was an edible body parts or something like that?
Yeah, like a gross skin that someone would
peels off,
manipulate.
The more disgusting things we ever done. I mean, most of them fell through Robin's prop area from a bucket or somewhere. We went through a lot of blood, For me, when I directed my first episode, one of the more disgusting things, and we had to plan out really well, is when Jared actually gutted the hellhound. because he's going to be doused in a bunch of black goo. So it basically had to make sure we had a 1 3-camera setup, which I made special effects, build a rig so we can actually not see any of the legs that are holding it up. And it was only like, I think, 18 inches above Jared when he had to slice it. So we had all the cameras angled around, one for the goo going on top of them, and one for a close-up at the end. And basically, we had one more shot after that. And Jared had to stay in the goo for that whole time, which was, thank God, is only like 45 minutes. So that was... In terms of like putting people into it, that was a more disgusting thing. And I think at Weekend at Bobby's when we doused the guest star in blood coming through the wood chipper, she actually liked it. She was a big smile at the end when that came through on top of her. I forget her name, but I remember the biggest smile on her face was see white teeth.
Was that Jennifer Aspen, Rob? Was that that actress?
Maybe.
Wasn't that the gal who was like trying to go on a date with Bobby?
She was one of the love interests Bobby
Yeah,
had.
it was Jennifer Aspen, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so we don't really know the contents of the organs. I apologize for that detail for Super Wiki.
I don't think we ever dosed you or anything ugly.
No, I didn't. Although I had to have Jared doused with the fly goo in the episode where the flies, and he was great.
Yeah.
He loved it. Easy going. I mean, just hopped right in there, didn't say anything mean. All right.
I had some gross stuff when I had Misha's tooth in my hair. Like Misha exploded and I had weird gooey shit in my hair. That was the closest thing I think I had.
One of my favorites is when Mark Shepard Crowley takes care of an offender for Ruth and blows him up. And Ruth, we wallpapered the room, and then we fired a blood gun right at Ruth's face.
And then I think it was a white apartment too. I think it was all white.
Yeah, everything was white. Yeah.
That's something you don't want to get to. You don't want to do that twice.
We're only doing this once
Yeah.
because the cleanup's going to be a bitch.
All right, over there.
Thank you for the question.
Hi, my name's Jackie. I was just wondering, I've heard a lot from, or there's been talk online that it was difficult working with Jensen and Jared sometimes because they were being so silly on set and it was getting kind of annoying. And so I was wondering what was the most difficult thing that you had to deal with them?
Wow.
All right, Gabe, you're going first.
Controversial question.
Start with Gabe with that end.
Is this the moment we'll never work again?
Yeah.
I guess.
I think Gabe can answer some of this
I'm
too.
taking away from you. So.
They're not here in this convention, right? J&J? Oh, they are. Okay.
Go for it, Gabe.
I think truth to be told is it was a tough show. I think suffice to say the hours were brutal, especially early on, tons of nights. And yes, at times the boys would be, goofing around and whatnot. But I will say that I've done a lot of TV that it's not supernatural. And I'll take those two guys any day.
Here we go. That was a great suck-up answer.
I mean, when Jared, mostly Jared would want to try and change his off-camera lines usually, and that was kind of, it was fun for some point, but it became a spectator sport if they can break a cast member to laugh. Many times I think at one point Misha asked him just to leave the stage and he did his off-camera without them. Alex was an easy target to make him break down as well. But and it did kind of drag a day a bit long, but it was fun at times too.
Rob, you tell that story about Jared putting his feet on your nards while you're trying to do a scene.
Yeah, and I got yelled at.
Yeah, well.
Because I'm the one on camera.
Keep
He's
it
not
together,
on camera.
Rob.
And I was like, I'm laughing. And who was it? I can't think who's directing. Someone strict, like Bob.
That was a Bob Singer episode,
Yeah,
I think.
Come on, can we knock it off? Yeah. Like, it's not me.
Quit screwing around.
Okay, I'll knock it off. Who am I to say?
I do remember a time that Misha refused to let Jared and Jensen into the scene. He was like, leave the stage, go to your trailers. I don't want you around.
Yeah, Misha said that many times.
That's a good defense.
That's probably fair.
I always said that Jared and Jensen were the two little brothers that I never wanted. Had. They took great joy in tormenting me pretty much the entire time.
No, never.
Just a couple of times. Their favorite trick would be handheld doing a scene, one of them's off camera right next to me, and I'm shooting a close-up of Jensen, and Jared is like pulling the ear hairs, and I can't defend myself, or he's grabbing my nose hairs, or they're like pulling my leg hairs. Whenever we did a grave scene, and I'd be in the grave looking up, they would start throwing dirt and trying to bury me. I'm still in therapy, but they were fantastic to work with, and I think that the reason that we went so long was because of those two, that so many of us stayed. To have a number 1 and 2 that are that great and so much fun to work with. Amazing how we got the show done because we goofed around a lot.
Yeah. I remember when there was a moment that I didn't think I was going to survive past season 2. I thought I was going to get fired, because they were friendly. Maybe I got carried away. I think it was a Key Manners episode. It was winter and we got snow, which was not often, right? And the boys were goofing off, and I see them doing snowball fights with somebody. I'm like, oh, I can get in on that, right? Like, I'm their friend, right? I've been working here for 4 months.
Yeah, you're in there. You're bonded.
So then I remember I got in a bit. They were far away, ha ha ha. And then I said, oh, I'll get them when, after they've done their setup, they're gonna have to go through this hallway to go back to their trailers, right? So I had these snowballs prepped. I hear on the radio, right? Kevin, cut! I'm like, this is it. Here they come. I had it. I saw him turn a corner, and I wound one up, like, threw it. It hit Jensen, like, square in the nose. I went like white. I'm like, oh my God, what are that? And they just chased. I think they threw me in the dumpster that day, maybe. Maybe it's
they
possible.
do that kind of thing, yeah.
I'm trying not to remember, but anyway, I'm still here.
Rob, anything like that happen in the course of, you do such hazardous work with them in the fight scene, but like, was there ever any, like, something where like, oh man, too much hijinks?
Well, I had the luxury of being the guy that they were most serious with. I had the joy of watching everyone else kind of get heckled, and they would play around, and then once we got to the action stuff, they were on point pretty much every time.
I had a hunch that was going to be the answer. Over here, right there.
Hi. I was thinking, I feel like I would have a lot of trouble keeping it together on set, seeing people act without any visual effects. Is there any favorite moments that you guys have of any of the actors doing stuff without any CGI?
Anything stand out that was, you guys are pretty used to it at this point. I don't know if it becomes a source of humor for you or not. I feel like everybody's pretty focused on doing what needs to be done to get those things accomplished.
You mean a scene that's going to be added
and later on, they're going to CGI something. The monster's not there. Or
Someone smoking out. Or...
scenes that didn't involve any visual effects or special effects were good to do because that was just letting the actors do things. And that was basically any of the acting stuff you guys did. Only did when we have to have somebody go in the portal or you're doing some magical god thing or something.
I kind of feel like, honestly...
And changing channels. But
it doesn't necessarily become... It's a laugh moment because it's actually very technical. And typically you have a visual effects supervisor down there going like, okay, you've got to pass this light source all the way. So in my experience, and you guys were there a lot more than I was, but it fell more under the Rob Hader, we're taking this seriously so we can get past this. But was there I'm thinking now about Pellegrino and Jensen dangling from chains trying to fight each other. I recall
swinging from the church.
Yeah, I recall some people thinking that wasn't so great. Maybe that.
I think it was Robin who coined it, Supernatural Dinner Theater, when we were doing passing the blades around at times, because it'd be a visual effect at some point. Pause, somebody puts a blade in, pause, put the bloody blade in, pause, put the, it's like we did that, we kept going, and then, of course, in post, they would make it all look good and with visual effects. But scenes without any of these stunts or special effects is why everybody's here. It's the drama of the story. It's the story of the two boys, the story of Bobby. It's the story of everybody, like this, the phrase, family doesn't end at blood. Those are the acting scenes. That's why everybody's here. And that's why we're still up here talking about it 20 years later.
Amazing.
Yeah. Right over here.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Fright. Thanks for being here and also for being on Rob and Rich's podcast to talk about the behind-the-scenes stuff. I was wondering that if there were any moments in the show where things really weren't going to plan and you had to pivot quickly to kind of make things work.
Oh, yeah.
Never happened. I don't
Yeah,
think.
I'm sure that happened. Do you have any pivot
Never happened.
stories?
Maybe on Kevin's episode, mine were run like just like perfect.
Liar.
Well, I'll tell you a pivot that I remember. I was very young on the show, but he marked me as a huge pivot. It was the season finale of season 2, where we're going to Border Town. And I think it got flooded and completely inaccessible. And I remember Cyrus contemplating shuttling the crew in helicopters from Crew Park to set.
That sounds affordable.
Sounds cheap, right?
Yeah.
Of course, we didn't do that. And then we pivot to do the entire Forest Cemetery sequence inside the stage. And we're there, I think, for a week. And then, I was a trainee. Maybe I was a third by that time. But I was like, wow, this is nice. We'll never have to do woods again outside in the rain because this looks so great. This is going to be a standing set, right? And then we never did it again.
Yeah, I mean,
back to the rain.
Robin, you got a pivot story? Any pivoting?
Nothing is really coming to mind.
But part of that same episode, again, pivoting to do that inside, we only had Jeffrey Dean Morgan for a very small window. And that window happened because then we had to do his stuff on visual and on blue screen before we actually shot the elements, which was a complete, opposite of what you normally do. So Kim and Ivan at the time had to work out exactly the shots that needed Jeffrey Dean for, shoot his elements, and then recreate the background plates when we did the stage stuff. So that was a big pivot there. One of the directors we had to pivot because Jared had broken his wrist, so he had to get surgery. And we thought, okay, the surgery's one day. We gave him that day off and an extra day just to, kind of get over the anesthetic and everything. He came into work, and he was still out of it. The anesthetic was still in him, and he couldn't. So we had to pivot to redo everything in Ladner, bring in a crane. That was the day we drove over Blue Mancuma with a bus and a bunch of other stuff because Jared just wasn't able to work. He was still, suffering, recovering from surgery. That's a big pivot when you had to do that kind of stuff. And if I think harder, I could probably think of a lot more. But
we had a lot of weather that would throw us off. But I think the most memorable one was the year of the windstorms here in Vancouver. We were shooting out at UBC on the peninsula, pretty exposed, and it was getting worse. It was getting windy. We're still shooting. We found out that they had evacuated the production office in Burnaby at about 4 p.m. But you guys keep shooting, keep shooting. We had a stack of plywood fly off like a deck of cards and was landing on the street near where our crane was. We had a metal door blow off a construction site, and very close
lamp
to the,
almost killed a dog.
Yeah, a woman walking her dog, and one of our lights blew over. And then finally, Kevin called the office and said, "Look, this is dangerous." So finally, it's like, "Okay, we'll go inside and we'll wait it out." Wait it out. It's not getting any better.
By the way, that was also the year BC Place had an inflatable roof that popped.
And I think that was Richard's first episode.
It was
if I'm
my
not
first
mistaken.
day on my first episode.
That was Tall Tales.
Yeah.
The windstorm?
Yeah, the windstorm.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny. Correct me if I'm wrong, but doing our rewatch podcast, it felt like the first 5 seasons there was a lot of rain happening, and you could tell you're like, oh my God, it's Vancouver, it's in the middle of scenes. But I feel like you got better at hiding it as it went along, because there was always rain here. Do you feel like you got better, from the camera point of view, at
Yeah, I mean, we tried to bring in fly swatters wherever we could, which is a big lift with a cover over top. But I don't know. I remember a lot of dark, muddy nights, wet and cold, sitting in the mud, going.
Hey, Brett.
These last 2 seasons, there's been less of that. Where you're like,
explain more what a fly swatter is for people who don't know that.
Okay,
that
so
term.
it's a big a construction lift. They call it a condor, but they would put it up. They'd add a 20 by metal frame and put a fabric on it that would be rainproof. We use them for light control sometimes in the sun, but at least that way you could try and keep the actors dry. Crew, forget about it. And if you're lucky enough to stand under the fly swatter when they drain it, when there's a big puddle, that happened a few times.
Dude,
I think,
one of my favorite.
Right down the neck.
When I was directing an episode and we had the fly swatter out and it filled, it looked like it was just so filled with water, a foot of water. So it was like, concave. And a new tech was using the ropes to tilt it. and he tilted that thing right onto Brad's camera cart.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
Brad took it great.
Yeah, I was really happy about it.
Dude, you were thrilled.
I had
You
a very
didn't march
calm
over there.
reaction.
I didn't know you were so fluent in Latin. It was.
And
No, we're talking about pivoting. Something I want to talk to Rob Hader about, because when you're doing a fight sequence, you have a plan. You've done a pre-visualization where he's filmed it, but you have all this built on a time frame. So the question is, and I'm sure this happened a lot. You've got 4 hours to do a fight. Now here comes Kevin and the director going like, we have 2 hours to do the fight. So you can't do that same fight. How do you already in the back of your mind know where you're going to make trims, or how does that process go?
I've always got a plan B. Because we get the time to structure it in advance, and because we talk about it so much as a team beforehand, there's usually, if a fight has 5 sections, I'll usually have a variation that has 3 sections. Because we've been in the business long enough to know that if we plan on having 5 hours to shoot something, probably we're going to have 3 hours to shoot something. So we might as well plan for that.
That's awesome. And it happened a lot, I know. All right, over here.
Thank you. Hi there. My name is Shaba. I'm from Oregon. And I have a question for Robin specifically. How did you get into this industry? What brought you to it? Did you do any schooling? My dream job is to be you or to do special effects makeup. So,
I'm a Nepo baby.
I was
My
worried
dad
about
did
that.
the same job, and I graduated from high school, and I needed a real job to pay for like schooling, and I got work on a show, and I dropped out of school, and I've been doing it ever since.
So all you have to do is go back in time and have your parents get in the business. 1, 2, 3. Cakewalk.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You know, Robin ended up being also like, your official job was props, but there's so many things you did on set too. I remember you doing the clapper and calling out the shot, and also you're a bit of, for the actors, all these people on stage here are like kind of ambassadors and people, you know, friendly faces that we would look for and be like, you know, and you were certainly that, such a part of the family from the beginning. But that's what I always thought was cool. Like you could kind of do anything.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. I've been doing this for a very long time, so I've learned different departments' jobs, and so I'm always like, whatever gets us through the day fastest. So if you need me to hold a light, if you need me to do a slate, I'll do it.
I remember once one of the editors asked me, well, where's your role? Because he couldn't figure it out. I was like, what do you mean? And how do you know? It's like, because I'm watching dailies, and that's always the last person to leave frame, because he'll be holding an umbrella, the prop, this late. It's like, I can't figure out what she does, but she's always like, it's action, and it's Jared putting his phone away, and this and that, and then Robin walks
at the
out.
like bigger parties that we had, like the 100 or 200, there'd be all these people that knew me, and I had no idea who they were because they were all editors in LA, and they see me every day and know who I am. But I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are.
I thought your last name was Props for a long time.
All right, over there, Robbie.
Okay.
Hello, my name's Elise. My question was, what was your favorite part of your job? Like the moment where you go home or you see it in, like, as the final episode and you say, that's why I do my job.
Good question.
I think for me personally, I think the best part, when I was going home after they shoot, literally I just was happy I survived, to be honest. Like, and then I made the day, and then I was alive, and then I still had a job. But I will say this, as time goes by, and I mean, look at this, right? These things take a meaning and a life of their own, and I've been really fortunate to be a part of this. I also been really fortunate to do other great shows after this. And I joke that, you know, if my career was to end right this second, you can never take my name away from certain things like Baby or episodes I did of Riverdale. So to me, that's the moment where all is worth, when you talk about legacy, and it doesn't matter how painful it was, the name is there, you're attached to it, and that you're part of history.
For me, it was almost every episode guaranteed we would have a 14-hour day, all handheld fight scenes, guaranteed, every episode. And some of them were pretty intense, and some of them were more than just one day, but I had a sort of a habit that at the end of the day, and we've wrapped, and I'm walking through the studio, and the lights are on, there's still a residue of smoke in the air, I would just stand on the set where all the mayhem had happened earlier that day, and you just kind of like, wow. But for me, it was just as important as getting paid was to see the final product, to see the work put together and be proud of what we did. And the fact that it's lived on in this legacy, in this family is amazing. And I'm super proud to have been part of it with some amazing people.
For me, it's a lot of this. It's also the final product, and also, Bob also made sure the writers didn't give us long scripts. So everything we did schedule and shoot did make the final product. So you're not saying, oh, there's that whole sequence gone. Why did we? We were able to see it all, and when it was on screen, with all the effects and all the sound effects and all the elements put in, that was the more gratifying thing to see how well it turned out. And again, it's why we're all still here today talking about this, because 327 episodes later, it was a great feeling to do all that and be part of this. I mean, I'm never going to be part of another show that's for 15 years. Never. That's not going to happen in this industry.
Lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, and especially with seasons that are 23, 24 episodes long, that just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, it was tough. That was tough.
Robin, you have any thoughts about it?
Really, for me, it was the people, like the crew, the cast. It was a great, and we knew it at the time, right? Like lightning in a bottle. We knew that we were part of something special. So, that.
Mr. Hader?
I was literally talking with with my wife Selena this morning, and I think the thing for me that's the most pleasure of being part of it is that, I have a history in doing what I do, and I feel like I'm strong at what I do, but I'm in the middle of a team of all these people who have these elite level skills in their own areas of expertise, and they're all applying it together to this one thing. And when you get all of these people in the same goal and the same orientation, and they bring all these fantastic skills to the table, and you're there in the middle of it, and you're realizing that you're all working together for this one thing, it's just every day you get a chance to do that, and you get to work with these wonderful people. And I just think that's the biggest thing for me is the people. It's the family that you build as you go through this process.
You're here.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Awesome, thank you.
You, sir, over here.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm sorry. Thanks for all your hard work. Just wondering, is there an episode where maybe you would have done things a little differently if you could go back? Like, for example, the future in episode season 12, like, something where there's maybe some technical different things, and maybe things could have gone different ways or whatever.
Any episodes you, in hindsight, I wish we'd done something specifically different? I mean, it's a tough question because things happen and you adjust and I guess it becomes.
I've got one that drives me crazy. Okay, Castiel's first entrance scene, which is a wonderful scene, but they use the demon killing knife on him, and it's the prop one that was retractable, and there's a hole in the bottom of it, and that image is shown all the time, and it drives me mental.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Anybody else being driven insane by some detail like that?
I remember this scene. It was a fight sequence. It was two women in an arcade, I think. I don't know.
Misha Collins.
Oh my God! It's the actor who played Castiel.
I just couldn't resist. Heard it was about the Castiel entrance scene, and I don't know if you guys remember, but I played that character.
No.
This is the first time you've actually looked at them in the face and talked to them. I know on set you were
Well,
very...
I know we had a rule on set that they weren't allowed to make eye contact with me, so.
Well,
it's actually
it was more like
it
you were
is
kind of
nice to be able to look in one another's eyes now.
Like stared off in the distance, every time we saw you that day.
That's right.
Well, now everybody's afraid to answer. Great.
I almost died when you arrived. The sparks almost lit my hair on fire.
Is that right, Brad?
Asking about.
Did you hear that, Misha?
Yeah,
Brad said his...
your spark entrance almost set my hair on fire. I had the flammable product on that day. It was very dangerous.
Well, I think the takeaway there is different product.
Brad, as you can tell, he has a very carefully coiffed hair, but he uses kerosene.
Questionable.
But smells bad.
That was a bit. The scene was very daunting for me because there was like the squibs going off, which is surprising. But my character was supposed to act like nothing was happening, like he was unfazed by everything. And they spritzed my hair right before we shot the scene, and I was like, "What are you guys doing?" And they're like, "Oh, it's just a little bit of water, just in case your hair catches on fire."
At least you got the water.
Yeah.
We're dollying ahead of you.
Yes, when we planned that out, Kim directed that when he came in, and it was basically what Kim described it as. He wanted Castiel to come in basically like a Cher concert. So that's why all the sparks are coming out.
There we go.
Like a Cher concert. That was the reference.
If you could turn back time.
Brad.
I never knew that. Well, that sort of set the stage for the character, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question, by the way. Thank you.
Misha Collins, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Collins.
All right, Rob, what we got over there?
Over here. Question.
Hi. I do onstage work and backstage work, and I just first wanted to say that I know a lot of the people we see on screen in this show get a lot of love and appreciation, but we know how much of this show is you guys, and obviously we haven't.
Thank you. Thank you.
We haven't had a panel where we could really express that, but yeah, you guys your work is really special to us, and it's really important, and is as important to who these characters are as the people who are the face of them. So thank you, and please pass that on to your colleagues that you see that we don't get to.
There's a bunch of colleagues over there.
Put up your hands. Crew. A lot of crew here.
Everybody.
Not you, Brianna. Not you, Brianna.
No, but I'm not surprised she stood up.
Yeah, and somewhere in the audience here we have Mike Carpenter, who was the Sam stunt double for most of it. Brad Turner also stunted him a couple. He's somewhere in the audience over here. There he is, right there.
Jared stunt double for the whole show. Mike. Jose, I see Jose. Who was there from the very beginning. From the very beginning. First episode.
Jose's a legend.
Yeah,
right to the bitter
Jose's a
end.
legend. And Kelly's there, and
Kelly,
Moira, and
Moira.
Maisie. Amazing.
Maisie props.
Same last name as Robin. That's the truth.
Who else is there? Don't be shy.
I mean,
Crew.
Jill, she did the last time the first 5 seasons.
Hi, Jill.
Nice, Jill.
Jill's there. Yeah.
What we're gonna do, right as this panel is ending, we're gonna get all of them up here so that you guys can take a photo of this whole group.
Yeah.
In the interest of getting another question, I'm gonna take one right here. You're up.
Hello, good afternoon. My question is about the fight scene between Dean and Lucifer in the church, but more from a technical perspective, meaning, had you to be in a harness to film that? Did you use a crane?
Okay,
or
so this is-
how did that work actually?
Yeah.
So that's
for Brad probably.
Brad, yeah.
Or whoever can answer it, who filmed it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Pardon?
Repeat the question.
Oh.
You want to know specifically how did they film the
Yes,
Lucifer and,
exactly.
Okay, well-
Dean scene? How did you guys film when they're hanging from the?
Yeah, they were on wires, they were in harnesses, and we had to have a crane so we could be up at their level. And then there's guys controlling the cables, moving them back and forth, like the marionettes, like you said. But yeah, technically challenging to shoot because everything's 15 feet off the ground. Tough to get close-ups with moving actors. So a camera crane was the right tool for us there to capture it in its glory as it was.
Can I go back to the question that was about something you'd do differently?
Sure.
Yes.
Rewrite.
We finally found it.
Thank you.
No, I'll kind of elaborate on that a little bit. A lot of this was sort of at the beginning of. I went on to work on Superman and Lois for 4 seasons after, and having the advantage of having a green screen and having a dedicated rehearsal facility and having a rig that was going to travel our people through the air and getting into a situation like that after this episode was great because I learned so much from this particular episode about one, what worked and also what didn't work. So this is also part of the battle that we have as technicians, right? When we're coming up with concepts and they come off of the page and we have grand ideas and we have a certain amount of time and a certain amount of budget and we all pitch in to kind of do it the best way we can. And sometimes even the best laid plans kind of end up being a little bit less satisfying than you had hoped they would be.
But it's also back to the whole thing is that this is a set we built. So the art department, construction, paint, everybody, and then not just those. Once it's set, built, the riggers have to come in and put all the lighting stuff in. And then once that's all in place, the stunt guys come in where their cables can be, which is usually like the day before or the morning before we get into the set.
So there's lots of limitations. So sometimes the best laid plans of mice and men, and et cetera, et cetera. So
things to think of for
question.
next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert?
Yes.
Hi there. You've all done such incredible work. It's awesome that you're here. Thank you so much for taking the time. Working on Supernatural, what was the best and worst part of your specific craft?
Best and worst part.
Best and worst part.
Best part, being behind the camera. The actors, I formed a trust with them. They would look at me, I would come off the eyepiece, and they would look at me first and know if I gave them a nod, they knew they had done it. And to have that trust and that connection with them was amazing because I was there with them the whole time. I got to live the experience with them. The worst times, mud, rain, cold, wet.
Vancouver.
For me, I always wanted to become a director. I went to film school. That was always my goal. And I think the best part of my job was to be able to observe other directors. Because when you do become a director, the weird thing is you never work with other directors. But when I was an assistant director or when you're a crew member, then you get to observe them and you learn with them, with their mistakes and with great ideas as well. So I think that to me was like the best possible film school you could ever had. Yeah. And I think the worst part is, as an AD or assistant director, Kevin will know this, is that the job never ended for us. No disrespect to any of the crew members, but some crew members may have a really hard day and the rain is this, but the minute you call wrap, they work hard, they go home, they crash. The minute they call wrap, Kevin and I are thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow, why didn't we complete, 7 phone calls we need to make, et cetera, et cetera. So the never turning off, it was, I think, the hardest part of being an AD.
Yeah, the turning off part, because if you don't finish the day's work, you got to figure out where that's got to go. And that's, you can usually figure that's going to happen throughout the day. I mean, the best part, again, is just working with everybody, working with the really, really good directors and knowing how help plan out a good plan with them so when we get to set, it's all planned out and moves smoothly. Kim always said, good directors make it look easy, bad directors make it look hard. Because Kim was planned out to the nth degree, so he knew exactly how many setups, where he wanted to put the camera, what he wanted to do, his camera moves, everything, his rack focuses, he had it all planned out to...
Focus notes.
Focus notes, yeah, he had focus notes as well. Yeah, and you know, the worst part of it is basically you can't control the weather, so you're going to be out in a downpour. You make sure you have good rain gear, almost 2 sets of rain gear. And then, yes, it's when things don't happen as per plan, and you got to figure out where to go with what happens. You know, we have to pull the plug because of horrible wind and rain. We went back to the theology building on Tall Tales to finish that off because we didn't get all our work done. We had to pull the plug on Panther Paintball one day because the branches were falling because of the wind. So we had to figure we had to make half a day in the stage to go back to Panther. So it's those things that you never turn off. You know.
Robin?
The best part would be similar to Brad. Because I did so many different things, I was very lucky to be kind of right there with you actors. And the crew, obviously, great. But I got to kind of have a special relationship with everybody, which was great. And the worst part would be about 2 weeks after you'd wrap, you'd start having work dreams. And it was just constant. It was like you were at work every day and you were supposed to be off. But yeah.
Wow. Mr. Hader?
I I go back to the same theme, right? Like the people that you work with and the team and the family that you build on the show, that's really the real gem of it all for me. I think the worst part, and I think folks can appreciate this, is that we spend so much of our time making the show and getting the shots and getting the schedule and turning on a pivot, and sometimes our family's at home. We don't get to spend the same amount of time with them. So you can have this one great family at work, and there's love and admiration, and then it sometimes takes away from those folks that are waiting for you at home, and I think that's perhaps the worst part of it.
Very good
Nice,
answers,
Rob.
always.
Thanks.
Oh, look at these guys.
Well, we're backstage listening to your answers. I think we collectively realized that there's really only one acceptable answer. That was the greatest part of their jobs was working with us. The worst part about their jobs was working with us when we were drunk.
We weren't saying those stories.
Oh, we're not telling those stories? Oh, never mind. Forget what I said. Hey, guys, please put your hands together. We would not have been able to do 15 years.
This is the perfect opportunity
without
to have
any one of these people.
everybody who's part of the crew, please get up here. Every single one of you. All you guys who raise your hand, get up here. Be a part of this. Come on up. Slide in behind your team. This is a photograph you're not going to get very often, so
You might never get it.
start snapping. Get on over there. Go over there, young lady. Get up there, Carp. Jose, good to see you, brother. Get over there. Get over there. Go, Jill. Get up here, man.
Guess which one was Jared's stunt double?
Ladies and gentlemen, the crew of Supernatural. For the new folks, real quickly, I want you to tell me, Jose, tell the people your name and what your job was.
I'm Jose Manzano, and I was the second camera assistant and focus puller.
There he was. Jill.
I was an alternate camera operator on different units throughout the
Camera operator. Who are you and what'd you do?
Moira Costumes, set super from middle of season 6 to 15.
Kelly, truck supervisor, all 326 episodes.
Wow.
Hi, I'm Brad Turner. I doubled Jared when Mike Carpenter was not doubling Jared. So
You're the double. All right, perfect.
Hey, here.
She said, "Oh God, that's appropriate."
That's
Rob
me.
goes,
A props assistant for the last 4 seasons.
That's amazing.
and this tall son of a gun.
Mike Carpenter, I was Jared's stunt double. Easiest job in the world for 15 years. I'd show up, go to Crafty, and watch him do all his own stunts.
Everybody, get your photos right here. This is Supernatural crew. Without them, there is no show. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here for this very special panel, everybody.